Hi there. I'm not too sure how to get into this, so I guess I just kind of will. I thought it would be interesting to document my and David's journey for the sake of us having it and going back and looking on it later and sharing with our friends and family that are interested. But as you may or may not know, David and I have been trying for about 6.5 years to conceive, obviously not very successfully. And a few years ago, I would say 4 or 5, we went to my doctor to try to figure out like what is up, because I've already had 3 other children. And so when we jumped into this, we kind of thought it would be a few years in the making, and not a few years, but a few months in the making, and a few months turned into a few years. And so obviously we were a little frustrated by that, a lot frustrated by that. And so we went to see my doctor, and they wanted obviously to make sure that everything was functioning fine, I was ovulating, all that jazz. So we did a bunch of tests. We tried 3 rounds of Clomid. We started off at 25 milligrams and went up to 50 per pill or whatever. And that was not the most pleasant experience. Obviously we didn't get our desired results, but in addition to that, I'm very hormone sensitive. So like I can't even take birth control that has hormones in them, because I get pretty severe migraines, I get pretty sick. And so that was the case with the Clomid. I was having really, really bad migraines, wound up going to the hospital thinking like, for sure I am dying. This is not just a headache. I am going to die. And turns out, nope, it very much was a migraine. Thank God. So I was like seeing things that weren't there, feeling pain to the point of wanting to black out. Just not super awesome experience. So after 3 rounds of that and it not working, we went to see another doctor, and found out that we actually have male factor infertility. And so we kind of sat with that and let that marinate. We had some tests run. We were told that pretty much there was nothing they could do for us. Like, there are lots of varieties of male factor infertility. In ours, they don't know why it happens. They don't necessarily have a solution for it. There's no really anything, nothing. And that there's a good chance that we wouldn't even be eligible for things like IVF. So that was pretty devastating. And we let that marinate and just kind of felt a little defeated. We went home, and for the next few years, we just tried to do it the old-fashioned way. And we have yet to have a successful pregnancy. So what we have now elected to do, we started in April. We went to the Houston Fertility Institute and talked to a doctor there who had all of our previous testing and everything. We actually went through them for some of the testing. And they ran some tests on both he and I and said, yeah, here's the situation. You have this going on with you, and here are your options. You could do IVF, which we don't know if that necessarily aligns with our belief system quite yet. It sounds funny to say, but there are some elements to that process that are kind of scary for us. And then the whole possibility that they're going to take 10 eggs and fertilize 10 eggs, and you have so many embryos result of that, and then you have an attrition rate, and then you have your final net embryo collection, which just sounds horrific. And so I may or may not wind up with more than 1 baby, or more than 2 babies, or whatever. And then you have to figure out, okay, well, what do I want to do from here? And so your options are destruction, which for us is not an option. Freezing for later, which IVF is about $40,000. So I don't know how many rounds of that we're willing to do. And like I said, I have 3 other children. So right now, we're just fingers crossed for 1 baby. So that was kind of scary. Or you could adopt out your additional embryos. And that's a really hard one, you know, and I know this sounds kind of selfish, but that's not an option that we're open to right now. So the other option was IUI, which IUI gives us about a 20% chance of effectiveness. But, you know, I know a few people that have done it and have been very successful. So they had different factors in their infertility journey, but you know, that's the one that sounded best for us. There's still an opportunity for multiples. We were told that's where John and Kate plus 8 came from. So that's super scary, but the likelihood of that happening is pretty rare. So you don't have the same financial factors that come into play for IUI that you would for IVF, because it's less invasive, I guess. It's a fraction of the cost, which is more realistically in line with where we're at financially, because I have to consider that I have children that are going to be graduating high school in a few years. They're going to want to go to college, some of them, hopefully. You know, we just have a lot of other things to consider, and we can't just wrap up all of our finances in. So, yeah, security's checking on me. So we can't just wrap up all of our finances in the creation of another life right now. Maybe I'll be crazy later and go for it. Who knows? So IUI is what we have chosen, and it's what feels best right now. So we started on Clomid again and did 10 days of Clomid, which is just not super awesome. Not for me. Some people do it and they're fine. I felt like a lunatic. I definitely had hormone surges because I was crying at stupid crap. Also, lots of migraines. Tracers again, seeing stuff that's actually not there, seeing double. So not fun, not something I want to have to do again. But if I have to, you know, whatever it takes, then, you know, that's what we do. But tonight I'm going to do a shot in my stomach to ensure that I can ovulate on time. So like they checked my ovaries and they look for follicles, and the follicles are what develop and release the eggs. And so we've done 4 sonograms where they check my follicles, and they are trying to get them up to 20 millimeters. Yeah, I think so. They're trying to get them up to 20. And so they were measuring, and during that time they gave me the Clomid. And I went in Friday and I wasn't ready. So we went in again Monday, and they said that I was at 19. So depending on my hormone levels, they may say that I may be ready. So we waited all day long, literally all day long, and found out in the evening time that, in fact, I was ready. And so tonight I'm going to take this shot, and the shot's going to trigger ovulation. So tomorrow morning we're going to go in early, and they're going to do the first IUI procedure. So basically they're going to take his guys, introduce his guys to my ladies, and hope they talk to each other. So IUI is different from IVF. IVF, they would like cause me to ovulate multiple eggs. They would collect those eggs, and then they would take his guys and my eggs, and they would like fertilize the eggs and create little embryos. Whereas in this case, nothing's being extracted from me or anything like that. They're just going to cause me to ovulate, and I may ovulate multiple eggs at once, but they're going to kind of force and time my ovulation, and then they're going to say, hey, we're going to take David's buddies and we're going to introduce them to Jenny's little ladies, and hopefully we have a baby. Hopefully 1 baby, max 2 babies, not John and Kate plus 8 babies, because that's, whoa, Nelly, scary. So that's where we're at. I will probably document our injection tonight just because I have no idea how I'm going to do that. I freaking hate needles. I'm not a fan of that idea at all. But it's supposed to be a little needle, little skinny needle, so it shouldn't be too terrible. My head looks really big in this video. I'm not very good at these. So anyway, we're going to do that and hope for the best. So hopefully in a couple weeks we will get to do a blood test for pregnancy and have a happy Christmas baby. If not, you know, we'll hang in there and we'll do it again. But I will see you guys later. Bye.